Good day, and thank you for joining us today. We're going to review the Value Improving Practices Selection Dashboard that you get information on from our website. With Value Improving Practices, it's important to remember these are formal practices and not simply part of the ongoing and normal project delivery process. We have selected the value improving practices here in the overall project delivery process. Given that you have selected value improving practices, we're making the assumption today that you are somewhat familiar with the term and that you are looking for a way to select the correct value improving practices for your specific project. Again, here is an overview of the various value improving practices that are recognized by most industries. Before we get into selection of value improving practices, it's pivotal that we have an understanding of the project and business priorities specifically at the point of selection of the value improving practices. Here's an example where we're looking at availability, CapEx, expandability and OpEx, and looking at how those are going to stack up with our focus for value improving practices. Similarly, it's particularly useful to be able to rank CapEx, availability and expandability, OpEx and project schedule, for instance, and there are several other attributes of value that are used. It is pivotal to rank those prior to selection of the value improving practices. So let's look at the tool that's addressed on our website. Here we have the overall dashboard. We'll spend a little time looking at each piece of the dashboard and then run through a quick demonstration. At the lower left of the dashboard, these green buttons that are shown, if you press those, you'll get a description of the value improving practices shown. Instructions are listed in the bottom left, the steps 1 through 5. Step 1 being to conduct a setting business priorities session that we have already addressed prior to embarking upon selection of VIPs. These steps are also listed across the top of the checkboxes and sliders on the dashboard. On the top right, we'll see a graph which will rank the various practices, enabling you to select a number of those which are highest ranked for your specific project. We will then check those as selected for this specific project, and having done that, we can then check the percentage of VIPs aligned with the percentage of 50% of those potentially applicable as a best practice in the industry. So here we have a demonstration of the value improving practices selection dashboard. We can put in the project name, number and the project manager. As we mentioned, as you go through these various buttons here on the dashboard, you'll be able to see the description of the value improving practices. The steps that we'll be following are shown here, and we'll be working on these sliders and check boxes. We've already checked off the setting business priorities. Step 1 is going to be to conduct that setting business priorities value improving practices session, which is pivotal to get it right. Step 2 requires us to step back and look at it as an external review. As an external consultant would say, a similar project may require or may be appropriate to have these value improving practices. So let's select the few that the outside assessor or consultant may say could be applicable to a similar project. Having said that, we can then move to step 3. So now we're looking at how do these value improving practices potentially align with our business priorities that we just had a discussion about. Now, with value engineering and process simplification, these are the same methodology. Tends to be process simplification in FEL2 and traditional value engineering in FEL3. So we'll go with process simplification in FEL2. Not much in waste minimization, we think. There's not much here. We think maybe some in predictive maintenance. We're looking at design to capacity and potentially custom standards, but not much there, we think. So now we're going to move to into step 4. And when we move into step 4, we're looking at what's the likelihood of having a significant impact when we apply these value improving practices, the ones that we have selected as potentially applicable in our specific project. As we talk about those in the team setting, we can then say that it would appear that they might line up this way. And of course, this is just a demonstration to show you how the dashboard works. And there may not much to be customized. We're not talking about just standards and specs that we would normally have, but customizing them. So now we look up at how do they rank. So we can see that constructability ranks ahead, and then close behind we have design to capacity, process simplification, and setting business priorities. So we'll look at design to capacity, and we'll look at process simplification. Over here we're into 40%, industry recommended is 40 to 60%. Then the next one that we would potentially look at would be technology selection. Fine, so now we're at 50%. So we're taking these 5 value improving practices, and if we wish to think, is there something that we may get out of a predictive maintenance that will make an impact on OPEX, if OPEX happened to be of specific interest in setting business priorities, we could then look at selecting predictive maintenance as well. We would put it around 60%, 60% being between the 40 to 60% that is accepted as industry norm. So now we have our selections. Most teams will capture this graphic with a print screen or with an over-the-counter software like Snagit, and then copy-paste straight into the value improving practices selection report.
Having selected the value improving practices, we can also see that these value improving practices do not have to be conducted in separate meetings. They can be conducted in the same session. For instance, we can address technology selection, design capacity, waste minimization, and value engineering all at the same time. There's more information on this on our website, and if you call us, of course.
For any information on the subject matter we covered and on other project management optimization methods, please visit and review Pinnacle Results website at pinnacleresults.com. We're always happy to share. Feel free to contact us and ask how we can help or share information with you.